was one of Lucifer's longest-running relationships. She had stood by the king of hell through thick and thin, marriage after marriage, and never flinched. Her name was Mania, and she was the Etruscan goddess of hell. She was a great warrior, a fierce lover, and loyal to Lucifer down to the last cursed cell in her body. She was the only one who was allowed to remain in the room while he was conducting business. Moloch reached the foot of the throne and prostrated himself as best he could. Lucifer stared at him for several moments, his face impassive. He looked at his fingernails and grumbled.
"I am displeased."
Moloch laboriously got up.
"Your Highness, if I may—"
Lucifer began to tap his fingernail heavily on the stone armrest. The sound echoed across the room and sent shivers down Moloch's back. He winced and tucked his head in. Any movement the king made was a sign he needed to shut the hell up. The tapping continued as Lucifer sat there staring at him. Lucifer had always been capable of changing form, and at that moment he was a bulky, muscular human covered with patches of black scales that wriggled and moved like live serpents. The tapping was like a dreadful heartbeat in Moloch's head. It wasn't frightening on its own, but it was so different from the norm that it was terrifying. There would usually be screaming, yelling, torture, and possibly death. Everyone knew visiting the king meant being tortured at least for a time, but for most that was an honor. Moloch, however, was already down to one leg, and his arm was hanging by a thread. He was not looking forward to the torture portion of the evening. He had already been through a lot, and the king was acting so very strange. Moloch was sure he had already been through enough that equated to punishment, although he would never tell Lucifer that. He'd beat Moloch and throw him into the lava river just to show him who was boss. Lucifer got up and walked down the steps of the dais. He stopped by Mania and stroked her cheek, then whispered something into her ear. She looked at him in shock and lowered her head, curtsying. She hurried over and grabbed the human, pulling her out the back door of the throne room. As the goddess left, she threw a nasty look at Moloch. He did his best to ignore her. When the girls were out of the room, Lucifer turned to Moloch. His face was calm, but Moloch knew better. He watched Lucifer walk down the steps and wave his hand, conjuring a beverage cart in front of him. He lifted a glass, put 3 ice cubes in it, and began to pour a generous ration of whiskey.
"Tell me everything, and let's start from the beginning. What have all these incursions been about?"
Moloch took a deep breath.
"Well, sir, a little while ago I had a visit from Tiches. He wanted to find out how to get a seat with the rest of us."
Lucifer nodded and took a sip of the whiskey.
"Oh, yes, Tiches. Where is that demon?"
Moloch shifted nervously.
"We aren't sure. He went to one of the incursions, and during the course of things, he had his head removed by...
Lucifer stepped over to him.
"Yes? Go on. I haven't cut out your tongue. Yet."
Moloch swallowed hard.
"By Lilith and her humans, sir. We aren't sure if he's in the depths of hell or dead."
Lucifer's eyebrow went up.
"Continue."
Moloch looked at the ground.
"Anyway, his idea was to show you he was strong enough and evil enough to deserve a seat. He planned to take over Earth as his gift to you. When he died, or whatever happened to him, I decided the plan had already gone too far to stop. So, through a massive number of incursions, we've been making headway into taking over Earth."
Lucifer glanced at his almost detached arm and missing leg.
"And how is that going for you?"
Moloch cleared his throat.
"Well, sir, we've had some setbacks."
Moloch watched Lucifer's expression. It seemed uncaring and unemotional, but there was something more in there.
"Oh, hell, the fucker is pissed."
The fallen angel sipped from his glass nonchalantly as he read Moloch's mind.
"Perturbed, I would say,"
Lucifer corrected him. Moloch nodded.
"Lilith has really been at the center of our issues."
Lucifer eyed Moloch.
"She does tend to be a thorn in your side, now doesn't she? I remember that all too well. Her passion is her greatest asset, and her...